Hello, and welcome to another episode of Brenda's Musings. So, I threatened tonight to tell a story that I told at a party last night that I don't remember telling, but was sort of recounted back to me, with a few words that was like, okay, yeah, I know the story I was talking about then. But I'm going to leave that for another time, because tonight I want to talk about relationships. And I want to talk about them because Brenda and I have 3 daughters, and each of these daughters has hooked up with a guy whose family have just accepted them for who they are, no strings attached. They've just accepted them into their fold. And, Brenda and I are super, super grateful for that. The bonus, and they may not think this, but the bonus is that they've accepted us as well. Just for who we are. And, they accept my craziness and my idiosyncrasies, and I accept their craziness and their idiosyncrasies, and we have a lot of fun together because of that. And, I'm really blessed. I'm blessed to have sort of these new friends in my life. And I'm blessed in the sense, because of the way the families are tied up, that I'll get to know them more and more, and we'll have more and more shared stories, and we'll have, holidays together and blah, blah, blah. And it just warms my heart thinking about the future. And then I think about the relationships that I've had for years and years. Like one of the girls who stood at was my maid of honor. We've known each other since we were 16. And we have the same kind of relationship now that we had when we were 16. I mean, yes, it's morphed and grown and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it's still that same easy, just acceptance. We laugh at our stupid stuff. We call each other out on stuff. I don't know. And each friendship that I look at that way is just so beautiful. And then, there's other relationships that I've had over the years that were maybe more difficult. And they were no less beautiful because they really held a mirror up to me about who I was at that point in time, what it was I was searching for. And what I've recognized, and only recently, because I only sort of been thinking about this recently, but what I've recognized is that in the relationships that were difficult, it was because I was looking for something. I was putting expectations on things. And if the expectations weren't met, then it became drama in my head and my heart. It was all about, I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, or I didn't feel this, or I didn't feel that. It's just, it was just drama stories built up in my head. And, it was difficult at the time, but then I recognized, but I got through them. And the turning point, and I recognize this in every single time I had one of these difficult relationships, the turning point was when I no longer had expectations of that person. And I guess even though that was the turning point in each one of those relationships, I'd never sort of realized that until recently. That as soon as I dropped all expectations, then the relationships, they either disappeared altogether or they just became easy. So, now I'm sort of looking at other areas of my life. Where do I have expectations? What do I expect of myself? This is like the number one relationship that I need to really build and foster is the relationship with myself, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm in the studio all day long by myself. No, but you're with yourself all the time. And we negative self-talk to ourselves, the things that we say to ourselves, we would never say to a friend. And yet we do it all the time to ourselves, right? So how can I better establish a relationship with myself? How can I better support myself? That's the gem that I'm living into now. And, I I don't challenge you, but I invite you to sort of think of that in your own life. What does that look like for you? That's my musing for today. Have a great one.